Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Admiral Kutuzov, and he is in the Minotaur, the 10 British cruiser. He is on the map Sea of Fortune in a 3-point domination game. Well, there is a carrier around, well, was obvious because his division with one. There is also 4 destroyers, and he brought Raider. So, yeah. Raider is not a very popular choice for the Minotaur, because basically what this ship is it's a citadel wrapped in paper with guns and torps on top. So if an enemy ship shoots you, no matter how you're angled, you mostly expect to get citadeled. Now don't misunderstand, I really love the Minotaur, but personally I would never give up on Smoke. He's even divisioned with a destroyer, right? So he is trying to sneak up on this island here, because he wants to be in a position to raid this cap and hopefully use this cover as a way to stay alive. Now the enemy Shimakaze seems to be already running away. Now interestingly enough, the enemy Shimakaze is running into this Alaskan's raider, potentially. So is the Fletcher over there. And well, there is an enemy Moskva that might just be raiding the friendlies. Well, yeah, he currently is. So, Admiral Kutuzov is just going to hug this island right now. His radar is... well, I guess we could also activate the radar here, so that we can exactly see what would be in his radar range. I mean, his radar range is basically his torpedo range, so we could have also used that circle here. But it wasn't really needed for him to radar like the enemy destroyers. They were already running away.
Torpedoes to port.
And that's a pretty decent start here for the friendlies. Now, he can try to sit here and shoot some things. If he has a broadside Moscow, he's certainly going to go for that. But next up, he could also try to go for this channel and take B. But it's a bit of a risky proposition. It really depends on how the enemy team reacts. One of the Minotaur's problem is she doesn't have an awful lot of gun range. And her shells basically enter the orbit first out before they come down. So at long ranges, unless you're shooting like a big fat battleship, you might have trouble hitting them. So you'd rather prefer to be a little bit closer, but without the smoke screen that's going to be very risky. Now Admiral Kutuzov is very careful here. He is trying to use a little bit of this island here to mask his approach once more. And now the question remains is he trying to just sit here and cap? Because he could totally do that, right? He has the option to reverse back behind this island, but he decides, you know what? Let's go one island closer. There is still a friendly force here in the south, so the enemy shouldn't be able to push too hard into sea. And he can... like, there is also a lack of enemies here in the north, which means this island should also serve as some pretty well cover. And he is now carefully approaching with Hydro. Now he is taking this cap, which is neat, but he's also sneaking up on those guys. Because let's face it, nobody expects the Raider Minotaur. And so the enemy smoke dispersed, so he immediately uses his radar because he was detected. And he is catching all of those guys completely off guard. Like, the Daring is spotted, the Kitakaze is spotted. I think the Kitakaze is behind an island currently anyway, but the Daring certainly is not. Now he is switching from the destroyer to the Neptune, because it's a fully broadside Neptune, and that Neptune is a bigger threat to him right now anyway. So he decides to go for that Neptune first. Now that Neptune is trying to panic smoke, well, he's caught inside a radar, so that's not going to help. But, well, I guess it's going to help, but it's going to help Admiral Kutuzov actually, because he is now dropping into concealment. The enemy's panic smoke is protecting him from getting spotted, while he is just merrily shooting away again with his radar. Well, radar is gone, the destroyers managed to scurry away. But the Neptune was successfully sunk. He forced, I don't know, made them panic and offer him a smoke screen, which is just so awfully generous of those guys. And now he can just sit here and farm himself a little bit of an Alaska. Now he has this island here in front of him for some emergency cover if needed. And well, there is the raider. It's a little bit late, but cover is close by, so he can just hack that. Now once again, like this whole position here and his whole approach has been very risky, and it's been only made possible by the fact that the enemy has a lack of a presence in the north, in the center. Because if they had any ship up there, they would have farmed him a long time ago. But because the enemy is so far towards the right, it worked out pretty well. Now he is getting closer to this cover because he needs to find some shelter before the Conqueror comes around here, although the Conqueror is turning away already, I think, anyway. And we seem to have a destroyer here in the smoke screen that wants to get in on the action. Now it's 18 seconds for the next raider, and well, whoever's around here might just be in for an unpleasant surprise. Then again, it shouldn't be much of a surprise since he already raided them once. And hey, maybe he doesn't even need raiders, so the daring seems to be just happily engaging in a gunfight here. The raider is ready, and he just... Wait, he just torpedoed the Kita cars, eh? Well, that works, and he just gunned down the daring. Didn't even need his raider this time. So yeah, it looks like the enemy team is taking the A cap, but it's looking pretty pleasant overall. Of course, Admiral Kutuzov has to be careful here. There is this Kronstadt in front of him. There is still a Conqueror around somewhere. There is the Alaska here. It's very good that a lot of the enemies are blocking themselves with islands here, but then again, the island is not blocking Admiral Kutuzov now, is it? So basically he can farm a broadside Alaska now that can't even shoot back. It's always enjoyable, isn't it? Now the carrier is getting in on the action. There isn't much chance in dodging those torps, I believe, but he is already pre-healing. So there is that. The Kronstadt is running away, wouldn't want to risk having an angle at shooting Admiral Kutuzov here, because, I mean, that would just be bullying a poor Minotaur, wouldn't it? That just leaves Admiral Kutuzov with only a carrier to shoot at. Wouldn't that be a shame if he just farmed himself a nice juicy carrier here, right? So, I mean, the carrier's coming back with some planes, so just why not shoot the carrier in return? Looks like that carrier doesn't really have anywhere to go. Well, I mean, if he'd sailed a little bit more behind this island, maybe he could escape the shells. But I mean, Minotaur's gun arcs pretty much arrived from orbit. And there is no real protection from that now, is there? Well, goodbye, carrier.
We destroyed an enemy aircraft carrier.
So at this point, I'd say this game is pretty much won. So what's there left to do? So Admiral Kutuzov could just try to turn away and escape here, but he is trying to go all in here. And he's just saying, screw this, let's farm ourselves a Conqueror. Now, of course, the way he's sailing right in front of the Kronstadt guns. And the Conqueror just activated his super heal, so no amount of DPM seems to be capable of taking that down right now. Well, I guess the torps did it. So, all that's left is get citadeled by Kronstadt, because that's just how Minotaurs end, and then enjoy this nice little victory. Because let's face it, the enemy has nothing left to fight back, and this is a win, so let's just jump to the results. So here we are with the results. Admiral Kutuzov earned himself 3051 base experience in a very nicely played aggressive match, not something you see too often in a Raider Minotaur. He earned himself a Confederate Devastating Strike, a Double Strike, and a Kraken, scoring 184,000 points of damage and sinking 5 enemies. So yeah, this was pretty enjoyable, and I hope you enjoyed watching it too. And I'll see you guys next time.